What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back into the Madhouse. And we've got the second week of Scar Set Champions to talk about. And holy crap, I don't know if people just felt motivated. I don't know what happened, but there are some really spicy lists to talk about that you're not going to want to miss. I was super excited to see them, the messages I got, some of the ones that I found on Facebook or Discord, and it's just really cool to see you guys taking these lists, winning set championships, whether it's a spicy list, whether it's a copy pasta list, it doesn't matter. I love to see it, and I'm really proud of everyone that's going out winning a scar, or just doing better. These are some of my favorite videos to make, so let's dive into it. But before we do, let me make my face a little smaller. I do have a really exciting announcement to make. If you're in the local area, you're not going to want to miss this. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been working with Safari Zone Collectibles, Angel, and she is taking a gamble on the Lorcana community. Every set we do a case tournament, but this time Angel is going to do a 1K tournament for us. And this, I'm so excited, all right? This is going to be, it's a huge store, so plenty of room. There's 2 restrooms, all right? So no lines for the restrooms. And just, it's going to be awesome. And this is only the beginning. If we can continue to show support and the Lorcana community grows, we can easily talk her into doing bigger events, maybe doing them more often, maybe more prize support. But I will say for this event, I'm going to put some of my own stuff. I'm going to sponsor some like achievement type battles, like spiciest deck, youngest player, first person to go, first one to get a first loss. I don't know. I'm going to think of some things and have some prizes for those individuals. I'm going to talk to Angel about putting together some pods. So if you do get knocked down early, you can still enjoy yourself, maybe win a box or something. So it's going to be tons of fun. It's going to be on March 22nd, starting at noon. Definitely come check it out. We're going to stream it on YouTube and Twitch as well. So ladies and gentlemen, check it out. But with that being said, let us jump into the first list. And coming up first, we have SteelSong. And this is Link. He posted this in my Discord and was really happy about it. But what do we notice? No sushi. And I was like, what's the no sushi? What is missing from this list? And I'm checking it out and I'm looking. I'm like, no sushi. I'm so confused. And then it hit me. There's no Ariels in this list. This madman ran 4, 8, 12, 15 songs with no Ariel. And he was able to pilot it to a first place finish. So really good job. He ran these 4 Gastons, which he said was just a powerhouse. It really decimated his red-purple matchups. So between the 4 Gastons, the 2 Navines, and the shift targets, he was always going to get that whole new world if he saw the whole new world. So I'd imagine he probably always kept whole new world in his opening hand, very rarely throwing it back. We got the daisies, we have the Lilos. He did say Lilo only mattered in 1 game, I believe, where Lilo actually did anything. But it's just, you don't see SteelSong like this with no Ariels. The closest thing we see is Boomy Jr., and he's over Scott running his no Ariel list, but it's very aggro and there's not this many songs. There's normally only the 12 with this Storm, Strength, and Wheel. So really good job, Link. Really cool to talk about this, really off meta SteelSong list. So awesome. Way to represent, man. Next up, we have a Flower Farm teammate, and this is Lorfessor. And he took first in his with a green-purple list. And I've got to admit, I'll talk about it in a little bit, but green-purple, very PTSD now because of green-purple. And green, he's just doing the nasty green-purple thing. And look at all these 1-drops. He's got 16 1-drops, so he's always guaranteed this early lore. They're always going to draw him cards, almost always. He's got the snake bounce, so he opts to go that route instead of the bonsais. And, being able to quest with a Cursed Merfolk and then bounce the Cursed Merfolk and play it again is pretty awesome. It's protected that way. The 4 Go-Go's, of course. The 4 Ursulas, which some lists are starting to only run 3 as we see more purple. So 4 Ursulas is getting a little bit more rare. The 2 Lyles, which did a lot of work for him, he really liked that. It paid dividends at a purple steel to really slow them down. But Lyle also slows down red-blue. He didn't play any, but it could slow down red-blue. forcing that Lyle to go into something, or not Lyle, but forcing the Flaversham to go into something, and then you can take it out next turn with something like hit into it with a Go-Go and a Fox, whatever you want to do 6 damage. So that feels pretty good. It's just a green-purple list. You got the 4 genies, 4 goats, and then the one little, toolbox cricky down here to just really catch people off guard, because not only is it giving a lot of attack to all your characters, but it's also questing for 3, and that is pretty annoying also after they clear your whole board with a bunch of 1-drops. So really cool, really happy to see this man go in and just dominate, beating all of these red-purple players, which is crazy. Like, he played nothing but purple all day. And that's kind of the dream, right? When you're playing green-purple, you really don't want to see, a lot of SteelSong. But so this is really, really great. He's not running the Bonsais or the Prince Philip, so probably happy he didn't see red-blue. But at the same time, not upset if he would have seen red-blue. Just green-purple is in a really good place. And I'll show off another one here later as well. I think 2 more actually this week. So good job, man. And moving on, we have Brandon Garcia taking 2nd place with a red-blue list. And I was so excited to share this because we have a Flounder. All right, there's a Flounder over here. Like, he's running the 1 of Flounder just because it's cute and it's Flounder and he really likes the card. And I think that is so cool. Like, I talked about it with the gentleman who ran the 1 Winnie the Pooh. It's really cool to see people just going in and having fun. That 1 Flounder, it's ultimately not going to affect a whole lot. That 1 Winnie the Pooh, it's not going to ruin everything about your deck. Both cards still are not the worst cards in existence. It's still a 2/2. It's still a 1-drop. It's still a 2/2. It's still quests for 1. The Winnie the Pooh is still a 5-drop inkable. It's still quests for 2, and it's a 5/5. So guys, go in and have some fun. That's what it's all about, okay? That is what it's all about. You're playing for what's going to be a $30 or $40 card, what's going to be a $50 to $60 mat. Just go have fun. I promise you it's going to be way more memorable if you do. But let's talk about the list, okay? This is a red-blue list. Get my mug out of the way and we can see his matchups. One thing I like about it, still heavy on the sharks, but still running the lucky dime and still running a lot of crabs. So when you look at it, he has multiple win conditions. To do that, he did have to sacrifice a little bit into the aggro matchup. So when we look at this, he still did fine against green steels, which is really impressive. But no aggro lineups. Green steel was the most aggro, and then he did lose to green purple. So against that green purple, not having those Sizus probably really hurt if they started with those cursed merfolks. So when you run a list like this, you do have to understand you are pretty much sacrificing the aggro matchup. You're really hoping to see, these more control variants when you're running a lot of Sizus, a lot of B preps, a lot of Tamatoas. And if you look over here, he lost to green purple 0-2, and he lost to green purple 1-2. Really, he probably really needed those Sizus, probably really one of those ice blocks maybe. So with that being said, he still, did really well against green steels, so probably got those Sizus and B preps down. He did really well into red purple. All those crabs, get the lucky dime down. You're going to win out there. And then when it really, again, green steel in the quarterfinals, got a 2-0 as well. So really good job, man. I love the Flounder inclusion. That is just awesome. It is really cool to see that. So way to go. Let's move the camera back. So next up, we have Otto Reedmore, and he is running a spicy yellow-green aggro late game list as well. Like, when we look at this thing, it is so cool. So real quick, he did want to shout out Nat 20 Games and Shopkeeper's Trove. So good for you guys. Thank you for doing what you do in the TCG community. But back to the list, we've got this really heavy aggro line. The 1 of Chris Merfolk, I think, is really interesting. He just didn't want those uninkables, because when he's running uninkables, he's got 4, 8, 9, 10, only 14. So I'm I'm really surprised not more Cursed Merfolks. Like, I'd almost rather go for Cursed Merfolk over Lilo, just because of what Cursed Merfolk does. You know, making them discard a card, questing for 2. Like, it feels bad to take out a Cursed Merfolk, but you know, it's still a really strong list. It still got him second place. It goes this really heavy aggro line of just, you know, throw your hand out, puke your hand out, and then you get this Clarabelle on turn 3 maybe, and then you can turn 5 your Clarabelle after you just threw up all of these 1-drops and you draw all of these cards. And then just for funsies, you can bend to your will. You can sing Clarabelle, you know, sing your welcome with Clarabelle, and then you put something back in their hand and then make them discard their whole hand. And that's something that people aren't going to expect. You can queen shift at any point and sing, you know, your welcome. And then of course you have this really annoying Emerald Chromacon, which is just bouncing characters back to the opponent's hand. So it's just really nasty, the things that this list can do. It's got a lot of disruption with the Chromacon, the Cloud Kicker, and the Ursula. So just really disrupting your opponent's plans. The 1 Cursed Merfolk is also disruption. Your welcomes and bend to your will. More disruption, all in an like a hyper aggro package. So really neat. I'd be curious if you ever got really any Rapunzel heals off. Like, the only way I feel like you could get them off is with the Daisy Ducks. So of course Clarabelle is an option as well, but I'd be curious how often you did get those off. You know, the matchups though, no SteelSong, so that's got to feel really good. You know, when you see no SteelSong and you're running a hyper aggro list, you're feeling pretty good about yourself. But 2 purple steels, which is, they normally do really well against aggro. So the list, he did well. He beat a red blue, like really strong showing, man. Really, really good job. So next up on our list, we have Stephen Kent. And this list is really exciting. This is another really, really spicy list because a lot of people may look at it and see mine and immediately be turned off. I know people are getting really tired of seeing that list, but guys, look at this list. Like, holy crap. He saw the Diggy package and he's like, okay, I'm going to run that. But you know what? I'm better than the Diggy package. I'm throwing in some spice. He's got 2 When Will My Life Begins, which lets you draw a card and chosen character can't challenge this turn. He's got 2 I'm Still Here's, which is giving resist +2 and drawing a card. And he's running a Wreck-It Ralph. When was the last time you guys saw a list that ran a Wreck-It Ralph? I don't know if I have. And that Wreck-It Ralph is a 4/4/3, and it lets you, when it quests, it can banish a location. And I think it's an item as well. And you gain 2 lore. Like, holy crap. So if you get this down against a Diggy Hole deck, not only, you're questing for 5. Like, I mean, come on. Like, that is powerful. And then, of course, you have the aggro line. You have the Captain Hooks to challenge into, you know, the other aggro stuff. And then you're just aggro. 3 Piglets, 3 Smees. You've got, you know, 3 Donald Ducks just to, you know, play it on Piglet and gain 4 lore. Like, Rapunzel for tons of Rapunzel targets with Lawrence and Pluto. The Rapunzel's Tower, you know, I love Rapunzel's Tower and Calhoun. Like a 3/5 resist +1 on turn 3. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. If you guys have never hit a fox with a Calhoun and your Calhoun lives, try it out sometimes. You won't be disappointed because the next turn you can Rapunzel heal your own Calhoun. Like, it's pretty busted. So really cool list. I was super excited when I saw this. He beat a red blue 2/1, blue steel 2/1, red purple. He beat his wife. So good on you, man. Really showing who wears the pants in that relationship as you slept on the couch that night. But you know what? You won the scar, so and the playmat, so you could use them for comfort. But I love to see it. Your only loss was your first round of the day, so that warm up there. But really good showing, Steven. This is awesome. Really, really good job. So next up, we have Philo Wisserman, Wissernin, taking 3rd place. And this is I know most of this is going to be first and second. You know, they get the mats, but I really wanted to show this off because it's a red steel list, and you just don't see a lot of red steel in these competitions. And he was right there. He lost to, I don't know if it was SteelSong or Diggy Diggy Hole, but look at this event. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rounds, best of 2. And he made it, he tied with a red blue and beat a red blue with, a steel, like a ruby steel, a red steel list. And this is just not something you see very often. I will say that I did at some point see a red steel that took first, but I couldn't find the list again. So it just goes to show that you guys can take these, again, more off-meta decks that people say are bad and do really well with them and just run something that people aren't going to expect. And red steel is something that people will not expect. The Prince Eric's banishing something, or gaining 2 lore, and it feels bad to take out a Prince Eric. These Gantus questing for 4 on turn 6. The doc gives red steel something they were desperately missing, and that being card draw. So it's just really cool to see. I love seeing this stuff. Flynn now has multiple triggers with Lawrence and Sizu. And just the Moana Flynn, where you can just gain so much lore off of just that. So really good job, man. Impressive showing as well with the decks you beat. A 2-0 against a purple steel, a 2-0 against a hyper aggro possibly, or the Fasa type list. But really good job. Way to represent red steel as well. Next up, we have Alid Matthias representing Kraken Gaming. And this is a pretty neat list that I was pretty excited. It's another SteelFasa list, but even more importantly, the reason I really wanted to highlight this SteelFasa list is he's not running freaking Zeus. He's not running Zeus. And I talk about every time I see a SteelFasa list with Zeus, something inside me, I can't stand Zeus in these SteelFasa lists, and he's not doing it, and he went and did awesome. He only lost to Ruby Sapphire 1-2, and that's a hard matchup for SteelFasa as it is. Zeus maybe would have helped kind of sorta if you saw it going into the Maui Half Shark, but most likely he didn't lose because of a Maui Half Shark. That's just the fact of the matter. But when you look at this list, he's just doing the SteelFasa thing. He has, of course, the amazing Cindy start with the Storm Rage on its strength into the Calhoun or Smee into a Dock to start cheating things out. The Rapunzel heal. For his top end, he's got the Big Simba, which is an awesome flip to either draw 2, discard 2, or deal 2 damage. And then, of course, we've got the Cindy's, the Stitches, Tinkerbells, and Gantus. And then there's so much good flips off the top. Of course, we also have the Chernobyls, that amazing quest for 3 and 9/9 body. It's just a really cool SteelFasa list, and really happy to see you do well with it. You beat Ruby Amethyst twice, took the draw, then beat a SteelSong player, which is really... SteelSong is a tougher matchup for these Mufasa lists because they take out your ramp and then just go so wide before you can respond. So it's just really cool to see, and really good job representing another Amber Steel list. So way to go, man. Next up, we have Heisenbell, and Heisenbell went a really unique route with her list. And Heisenbell and I have talked quite a bit about Agro Amber Steel before, a lot of the popularity around it. And then she showed up to State Champs and decided, I'm going to run this, and went a little wild. And when you look at this list, it's like it's interesting because, we see the Kiwi list that's really popular right now, that Jax and Harlan Sweet are really, storming the battlefield with. And she kind of took a lot of those same things, but there's no Alice, which is a huge part of Harlan and Jax's list. And instead of, she has the 3 docks, but also 3 whole new worlds. So it has some of that, the blue steel stuff, right? With the normal blue steel wheel list with, running whole new world and running Let It Goes and the visions, but it also has a lot of the Kiwi list, which is that more aggro route. So it's really interesting doing these 2 different things, but doing well and getting, second place. She had to play 5 rounds before she got to Top Cut. And look at that. One of the lists that she beat was a Kiwi Bird list. So she showed up and showed them, I am the superior blue steel list. She did beat a red blue, which is pretty awesome. That buy really came in for her. So really congratulations on the buy. I've never gotten one in a set champ, but good job there. You got to scout the field and do some good homework, and then going into quarterfinals, we got a purple steel that she beat, another purple steel that she beat. She did get revenge off this first quarterfinal, so congratulations. And then got second, so she lost to a ruby sapphire. And even with this type of list, like both lists, I think are just gonna have a really hard time into ruby sapphire. Oh, that's red steel. Yeah, RS would be red steel because RB would be ruby sapphire up there. So red steel. So lost to red steel. Red steel is just showing up, guys. If you think red steel is not on the deck, we saw third place one. This deck got beat by one, and then like I mentioned, I found another one. I just couldn't find the list again. So, but Heisenfeld, back to you. Really good job. Really way to show up, and again, show up with something spicy, something that's your own, and really just beat them up. So good job. Next up, we've got Zeb Sylvester, and he went in and played this spicy green steel list against a really tough field. Like, look at this field. He played, the only thing was one red purple deck that he beat 2-1, and then just nothing but amber steel. What a day, man. Like, oh my goodness gracious. Like, look, so much red steel. You beat them up twice, but in the end they got you, which is unfortunate because this list is spicy, it's unique, it's really cool. I love that you're running this Ring the Bell banish chosen damage character, because now for 4 damage you can banish a character, and that is awesome. You can fire the cannons to deal 2, and then you can hit them with a Ring the Bell. And that's super cool. You're running this Scar, which that has to be the first list I've seen this Scar in, where 4-2-1 and with Ward, and that is pretty awesome. Let's see, whenever one of your characters challenges a damage character, you may draw a card. Some more draw there. Like, I didn't even know about that effect. Like, this is a really cool list as well. You're rewarded for challenging with Captain Hook and challenging with Robin Hood. You have this Prince Philip, this Ward 3-2-2, which is just difficult and annoying to handle. And then, of course, you're running Hidden Cove, and then also the Mine Package. The Mine Package is interesting. I'd be curious how often that actually came up with only the 4 dock, if you'd experimented with that at all, or just kind of a last-minute decision. But I love it. I love this list. I love the Ring the Bell. I love the Scar. Just really cool, really spicy green steel aggro. No discard, just a green steel aggro list coming in and just beating the crap out of amber steel all day. So really good job, Zeb. Next up, we have I Am Me. And this gentleman going in with traditional SteelSong, but even then, we do have some spice in here, some things that we don't normally see. We have the 1 of Benja, we have the 1 of Sven, the 1-in-1 of Cinderella and Ariel, the 1 World's Greatest Criminal Mind. This guy's giving off Frank Karsten vibes with all these 1-ofs, but like, this list is just really neat. And he came in, I didn't have a matchups for him, I wish I did, but I love it. Benja is not as good as he once was, being able to blow up that fishbone quill of red-blue, but there's still a lot of items out there. One of SteelSong's worst cards they don't want to see is Ice Block. So Benja comes in and blows up that Ice Block, blows up the Popsicle, so Flowersham can't draw. Maybe blows up an Emerald Chromacon, so you can start blowing things up. And we still have the I'm Still Here to help you draw cards, give resist +2, lets your Smee live, of course. Like, a lot of just nasty things that you can do. And then Ariel Sonic Warrior to help with all those diggy hole lists. Like, really cool list. We're running 4, 8, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 songs. So a lot of power for your singers and your Ariel. The 1 of Sven, because Sven is just so powerful. one thing I do want to remind people of, because I saw this on a Facebook post, someone was really bragging about how strong Sven was and bragging about their win. Sven specifically says that when you play Sven to ready a character, they can't quest again. So do not be sitting there questing with your Lilo and then play Sven and then quest with your Lilo again. That is cheating. That is not allowed in the rules. Okay, Sven says you cannot quest again, but you can quest once, ready the character with Sven, and then sing a song, right? So that is something that you can do. Okay, so just keep that in mind. All right, you cannot quest, you cannot challenge. Okay, but with that, I am me. It was not this guy. All right, I am me. Really good job with a really spicy list, and I love to see it. And way to represent traditional SteelSong. Someone has to do it, because clearly this set champs, it's not me. So next up on our list, we got David Norito, and he took first. And another green purple list, guys. Green purple, like, green purple is giving me PTSD. And looking at this list, this is the I'm gonna beat the crap out of red blue if I see them. And he did in one of them in quarterfinals, 2-0 against a red blue player. And it was probably a super decisive 2-0. We've got the 4 Curse Merfolks, the 3 Bonsais, the 4 Go-Go's, the 2 Prince Philips. He's running the Roses, and the Goats. This list is just built to say, screw you, red, blue. And he did. This is awesome. Now, he did get the 1-2 right off the bat, which is... I'd like to know what happened, what kind of things happened, because this is the list. Now, with that being said, red blue is, red blue, right? It only takes one top deck. It only takes, they can find so many answers, but this is one of the best ways to go about beating them, I think. And the other crazy thing is, look at all these green purple matchups. I've never seen so many green purple decks, and he played 3 of them back to back. So way to go. That is impressive to do that. So much purple too. Again, no SteelSong. So made the right call. Whether you knew the local meta or not, you stuck with what you're comfortable with. I don't know, but it was the right call, because no SteelSong to really punish you for playing something like this. So awesome. Love to see it, man. Really good job. I love seeing people playing green purple to beat up the red blue players. So much love red blue. But yeah, just awesome. Love to see it, and really good job. So next up we have Aaron, and Aaron's gonna be familiar. Because I featured Aaron in my last video. He was running purple steel when he took second place. This time Aaron took second place again with green purple. So he mixed it up a little bit. Last week was his first time playing purple steel. This week was his first time playing green purple. And he just loves purple, all right? Normally he plays red purple though, but he wanted to mix it up, and he did, and he took second twice. And this list is also spicy. I will say this is what I played Blurple. I decided 6 games was enough for Blurple, and this is what I lost to in quarterfinals to take third. And afterwards I saw the list, and I really looking at this list, one of the things that stood out to me immediately when I saw it, no 5-cost Elsa. And I did so much playing around 5-cost Elsa that I feel so silly. But lack of purple experience. Aaron's a really good purple player, and it really showed, because he beat the crap out of me with this list. The big Ursula really came down doing a lot of damage. This Pegasus made it so hard when he shifted Pegasus on turn 3 into a turn 4 Genie. There was nothing I could do without getting punished really hard. And I felt like he played 19 Curse Merfolks. I just felt like Curse Merfolks were everywhere. When you run this many 1-drops, you got 4, 8, 16, 17, 18, 19 1-drops on top of 2 Roses, 4 Goats, the Lyle, which did a lot of work as well, and then the 2 Bells to really punish Genie Wars as well. Aaron showed up and did really good with a list that I'm just really surprised I didn't see the Elsas, and a really good list that took second place. He lost round 1, I think, against a green-yellow discard deck, and then just came in and beat the crap out of everyone else and did a really good job. So really good showing, man. Quite the humbling experience to lose to you as well. So next time for sure. Next up, though, we got Nick Rusu. Yeah, we'll say Rusu, and he is running this purple steel list, and like this is something that you're going to expect from purple steel. Like I will say I played a purple steel list very similar to this yesterday for the very first time, and if you've never played it, it is fun. There is something so exciting about playing a dock on turn 2, and then if it's still alive, a couple turns later you bounce it and with a snake and play a dock again to draw 2 more cards, and you draw into a bounce, so you bounce your dock again and then draw 2 more cards. So these dock chains are so incredibly powerful. And then not to mention, you have all of these 1-drops that are just tactical nukes with a crab or a fox because they're just questing away. You use a crab to take something out, and you use a fox to take something out. You have these Calhouns that are just doing even more damage. Like I absolutely loved playing this deck, and it looks like he does too, because he went in and took second place against a pretty challenging field. A red-blue 2-0, which is not an easy matchup when you're not running the Maleficents or Gantus. We've got he beat Blurple twice, and again, not an easy matchup for Purple Steel. I found playing Blurple, even with my limited experience, Purple Steel was an easier matchup for me. He beat SteelSong. I don't know if it was he probably explained it over here, but I don't know if it was traditional or Diggy Diggy Hole, but still not the easiest matchup either way. Again, top 8, 2-0 against Red Blue, 2-1 against this green-purple running Sorceress Staff, which is pretty cool and pretty off-meta and exciting. And then finally losing to an Amber Steel. Again, I probably should have looked to see if that was traditional or Diggy Diggy Hole. But if you guys have never played this dock version of Purple Steel, I strongly urge you give it a try. He is running the rabbits, so you could, cut the rabbits to go even heavier on the aggro, whether that's, add in a rose and 2 other things, whatever you wanted. I don't know off the top of my head, but friends on the other side. I don't know, but you get the idea. It's just a really fun deck, and I strongly urge you to give it a try. But really good job, Nick. Really way to represent. So next up, we have Mo Shamblin, and this name is probably going to sound pretty familiar because he has a world invite, and this guy took NA Continentals, but he was running green-purple, and he decided to run something a little bit different this weekend and ran this yellow-purple list, and this is pretty exciting as well. Now, this isn't the first time we've seen this. We saw Clara running this list or something very similar at NA Continentals as well, and then even recently in the ICL event put on by Wonderland. But looking at this list, it is this aggro tempo, has a lot of reach. Like it's just really cool. Like you're aggroing out with all these 1-drops, piglets and lilos. You still have the tactical nuke power of Merlin Crab and the Fox. You have all the draw of Rapunzel and Genie and Rabbit, reach from Crab and Rose, and then you have a Mufasa, which a lot of the time I'd imagine Mufasa's ink, but then when you top deck it, it's not an awful top deck because you just put it down and then you can just leave them there. Like if you're playing against, red, blue, or red, purple, just leave your Mufasa ready. Like if you don't have to quest with him, just leave him ready so your opponent can't banish him, make you flip your character, and then B-prep you. So a lot of times just playing a Mufasa, leaving it there, and letting it do its thing can mess with your opponent and forces them to just play badly because they don't want to give you the ability to have that Mufasa flip something really good. So just a really cool list that's running this aggro tempo thing with a lot of reach. Like that's what it is. And then of course it's played by, the mastermind himself, Mo. So definitely another list to give a try, guys. Next up, this is a really good friend of mine. He is in my Discord. I've played him a lot. You guys have probably played him a lot on Pixelborn Connect. This is Sam, and then another gentleman that ran his same list, Ivy Slime. But Sam runs he uses the cheetah. I believe it's eating crunchy Cheetos. It's a really cool mat on Pixelborn Connect that Sam uses. But this is this is just a really cool amber steel locations list. It's going to look really familiar to something we saw make day 2 in Vegas, I think. It was either Vegas or Seattle, but a really heavy location. There's 28 locations here, but this time we've added in some of those new cards like Calhoun and Prince or John Silver, which Calhoun, something the deck desperately needed, because now you can drop a 1-drop, or you can drop something like a Neverland or a Bayou on turn 1, a Calhoun on turn 2 to punish them for going into the Bayou, and then turn 3 you can drop maybe 2 locations, or you can drop a John Silver, because on turn 4 you can drop a bunch of locations, and then your John Silver quests out for 4 lore or 5 lore or whatever it is, and then he also has all this resist, and that's only turn 4. So there's a couple turns before the something impactful like a Medusa can come down. So just really cool list. I'd be curious how often the shift actually matters, because I know in the list we saw at the DLC, that was one of the cards that they said you could cut without any issues. But just really neat. You still have that, the mines package here for some extra reach, but I love it. You have the John Silvers to stop them from questing as well, or not questing, but challenging your locations. Just really cool to see this thing come in and really beat people up. And looking at his matchups, like, these were good matchups. Like, he beat a red blue, he beat a red blue that he lost to earlier, but he beat a red purple, a discard, a green purple, which I would think would be a tougher matchups with all those 1-drops, the crabs and the foxes. And then he also beat a SteelFasa list. So just really neat list. So good job. Sam took first with this, and then Slime took second with this just a week later. So Sam won this in last week, but I still wanted to talk to him because he's a really, really awesome kid. So really good job, man. So next up, we have Rick. Another one, didn't make top 2, but this is a really good friend of mine here in Delaware, and he really struggled between this and red purple, and he decided at the very, very last minute that he was going to run this, and he did really well with it. Like, he beat the red blue 2-0 on the play, and the red blue player he beat is the same one he lost to here that ultimately won the entire event. But this was a big event, 6 rounds. It was 34, 35 people, and he played out all day. Beat purple steel, green steel mirror, red purple, and purple steel, but just doing green steel things. So he's got the aggro lineup, of course, the 1 dock. I think this might be Zan's list actually from NA Continentals, but just doing what green steel does really well now with this aggro lineup, these Calhouns to protect yourself, the Muses to start bouncing the Diggy Diggy hole decks. And then, of course, you have the Ursula and the Prince John with that really just nasty, nasty discard package that no one ever wants to see. So I really like it, man. Really good job, and I'm really happy for you to go in and, kick butt. So love to see it. So our final list, my favorite list, the most spicy list of the whole video, we have our buddy Raleigh. He is another Flower Farm member. He has joined the dark side and plays mostly Marvel Rivals now, but he showed up down in Florida and just went to town with this crazy green-red Christmas tree deck, and it's just look at it. Just look at it, okay? Like, this thing is awesome. He's running this Mulan that I've never seen in a deck before. He's running the Mulan shift package. He's running a Tigger, which is awesome. The Tigger, whenever you play an action, you get an extra attack and an extra lore this turn. He's running the Robin Hood, which is doing the discard action whole thing there. The Sherwood Forest, so you can give your Robin Hood ward. So you could play Sherwood Forest on 2 or 3, play Robin Hood on turn 4 and move him to the location to give him ward, which feels pretty freaking good. The Raya, however it's pronounced, let me know. She is awesome. Because I talked to Raleigh and I was like, dude, how do you win with this list? How do you go and take first with this crazy thing and win? And he's like, protect Robin Hood at all costs. That's all you have to do is protect Robin Hood, and Robin Hood will carry you to victory. So it makes sense why you have the Sherwood Forest for ward, and then you have the Rhea coming in and readying your Robin Hood. So you can quest and then gain the 2 lore, search for locations, maybe discard, whatever it is, and then you can ink and ready your Robin Hood with Rhea. But you also have You Came Back to ready your Robin Hood, or like go crazy with Mulan, or go crazy with Maui. Like, there's so many options with this list, and I think it's so cool. Like, I don't know. I really like it. I think it's really spicy. I think it's really cool. I think it's really exciting. And I thought it was so exciting that night when I saw this list, I went and completed my playset of Diablos, and I went and bought 4 Robin Hoods. Like, I'm super excited to play this at locals one of these nights, because it's just really cool. And I'm loving playing a lot of these new decks. I'm loving the spice, seeing this. He beat some good lists like blue, purple, blurple, right? Red, purple, purple, steel. Like, he beat all of like the meta lists, except for red, blue. So I'd love to see how his testing has gone into red, blue, but like to beat 2 red, purples, just awesome, man. Just super cool. So really, really good job. And again, way to represent the flower farm. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, that's all of them. Again, I'll go back to the beginning so we can kind of end on this. If you're in the Smyrna, Delaware area, we're like an hour away from Philly, 90 minutes from Baltimore, 2 hours from DC, I think. Check out the tournament, all right? It's going to be an amazing time. I promise you will not be disappointed if you make it down. And say hello. It's going to be great. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let me know. If you play one of these lists, if you love one of these lists, let me know. If you did really good, let me know. If you go into the next set champs and you win, hit me up and I'll throw your stuff in the next video, because I love doing this and I love shouting you guys out. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay happy and healthy. I'll see you around.